Good evening, I'm Saul Sainz, and this is ABC-7 Extra Sunday edition. First of all, I want to thank you for sharing your weekend with us and permitting us into your home. Tonight, we're coming to you from the Union Pacific Railroad yards. There's a reason that we're here. CBP is seeing an uptick in migrants crossing from Mexico into the U.S. near the railroad yards, sometimes inside trains themselves. Unfortunately, what we've also seen, or what CBP has seen, is that many migrants try to jump off trains or just basically being injured near these trains. Joining us to talk a little bit more about this is Chief Angel Hernandez with CBP. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. And I want to ask you first off, we've all known, we've all seen what the numbers were like back in 2019, and they were crossing, they were literally migrants were coming up to the border barrier and turning themselves in. This time around, they're coming in through the railroad yards. Is that correct, and why?
That's correct. CBP works in multiple environments, and one of those environments happens to be the railroad. And in the railroad, and you saw earlier, it's dangerous. The railroad doesn't stop. The railroad continues to move. And I think a lot of these non-citizen migrants think that CBP is not fully engaged in doing inspections on the rail. I think that's a misnomer, and so we've seen an uptick in migrants coming through the rail.
One particular instance that I will point out to, and we'll be showing our viewers this particular instance, we saw a large group of about maybe 7 that came up to the gate itself right before the train crossed from Juarez into El Paso. And it appeared as though a smuggler was signaling them. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we saw that, right? So he was doing some sort of signal to the particular group. They were already on the U.S. side, and before they got to the actual gate here, Border Patrol ended up picking him up.
Yeah.
We saw that.
Is this common?
It is common. It happens quite a bit, especially when the train is about to move. We try to deter any type of individuals trying to sneak their way by there at the gate, because it's so narrow and it's dangerous, so they can get hurt there at that location.
Have you seen any injuries in situations where the migrants just come too close to the train itself?
Sure. So a lot of our officers, they've had to engage in first aid in certain types of situations where an individual may get hurt or injured, and we've seen that firsthand.
And this is pretty much an all-night thing. What time does it start and what time does it end where you see migrants coming in through the rail yards?
For the rail environment, it cuts Ciudad Juarez in half, so when the train is moving. So typically they try to run it at night, so that way it doesn't affect the traffic flow in the city of Ciudad Juarez. So typically we'll see the rail move between the hours of 6 p.m. till 8 in the morning.
And this is not the only rail yard where they're crossing through, is that correct?
That's correct. Here in El Paso, we have the Union Pacific rail yard, and we have the BNSF rail yard.
Tell me about the coordination that you all have with the Union Pacific and the other railroad companies, as well as with Mexico, to help you apprehend some of these migrants.
Sure. So we have a great relationship with Union Pacific Railroad and the BNSF Railroad, including our counterparts in Mexico. We share information with them whenever we see a different type of trend, any type of information that may help all of us try to defer these individuals from using the rail yard. When
you apprehend some of these migrants, that you either get them off a train or they're trying to cross where the train is passing, what happens to that migrant? Are they simply sent back? Are they Title 42? What happens?
Sure. So we go through the same process we would do with any individual that we would encounter. We're going to verify. We had, for instance, an individual who was a gang member, a Sureño gang member. He had a record, and in that scenario, we're going to go through what our process is here in CBP.
And when it's just a regular migrant, someone who's just trying to cross, what happens then?
Yeah, so typically right now we're using Title 42 as that mechanism to curb that particular flow of migrants into the U.S.
So when they're Title 42, they're simply just rejected and sent back to Mexico. Is that correct?
Correct.
What happens if it's an unaccompanied children?
Yeah, so unaccompanied children, those are unique. There's a process that we use, CBP will use for the protection of the child. And we try to find who their sponsor is or who their relatives are. That's typically the first process that we're going to end up doing when we encounter any type of unaccompanied minor.
Are they showing fear? These children have never even ridden on a train, right?
Right, correct. A lot of times it seems like they're coached. They've been told what to say, what to do. They'll usually have a phone number of one of their relatives sewn in their clothing somewhere on their hat or wherever, whatever they might have with them. And they haven't seen their relative or that sponsor in a very long time. They've just been told that this is where they got to go.
How does this surge differ from the one in 2019 based on your experience?
So again, we're talking about the rail. We didn't see that in the rail. And here in the rail environment, it's dangerous. It's plain and simple. It's moving. It's a moving vessel. And for anybody that gets or wants to get on the rail, it's a threat to that individual, especially to jump off, to get off. It's dangerous, plain and simple.
You're not really seeing much of an increase since it started?
Correct.
Is this happening nightly, and on average, how many migrants do you apprehend?
Yeah, so this happens nightly, off and on. We'll typically see maybe 5 non-citizen immigrants every couple of days.
And talk to me about the manpower. Do you have the manpower to continue enforcing the way that you've been doing on a continuous basis every night?
Sure. So you walked with us today. You felt it, I'm pretty sure. It's daunting. It's physical. It is. This is a rough environment here in the rail, and there's no doubt it takes manpower. But I guarantee you this: CBP is doing an outstanding job. The officers you met today are some of the finest CBP has, and they're the experts. They know what they're looking for. They know what to do, and we take our job seriously.
What message do you have for the smugglers who continue to try to cross migrants, children or otherwise, through the rail yards?
Sure. So again, here through the rail yard, it is so dangerous to try to put a child, to try to put a family, to try to maneuver individuals that have never been on a train before, and to try to hide them in locations. And you saw that today, where to try to get off a train, to try to get on the train, to try to get on it while it's moving, or try to get off it while it's moving. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. I don't want to see anybody injured, anybody hurt.
Right.
And here in the rail yard, again, I can't stress it enough. It's dangerous. To not use the rail yard is just, I can't say that enough.
Chief Hernandez, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. You're watching ABC-7 Extra. When we come back, we're going to take you to those trains. We're going to show you from the moment the train comes in to the moment that CBP officers are checking each and every car on that train to see what it is that they find. As a matter of fact, there's also a canine unit that's out here sniffing not only for migrants, but for drugs as well. We'll have that when we come back. You're watching ABC-7 Extra, where news comes first.
Summer's here, and with a great deal on a new Toyota, you can go out and do all the things that make summer, well, summer. Like go biking, glamping, pony rides, Mother's Day, scavenger hunts.
Found it!
Off-roading! Woohoo!
During the Summer Starts Here sales event, get $750 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease a new 2021 RAV4 LE for only $259 a month.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
She said she wasn't hungry. She only wanted a bite. But this isn't just a patty melt. This is a Whataburger patty melt, the all-time favorite, with 2 all-beef patties, Monterey Jack, grilled onions, and creamy pepper sauce. So 1 bite became 2, and 2 became mine. Just a bite, huh? Good thing she's your other all-time favorite. Good thing there's the patty melt at Whataburger.
Wednesday at 10, an El Paso teen with a problem.
I just thought I just need new glasses.
Actually, he was going blind.
It's a rare disease.
I was devastated, shocked.
How would you help your child cope? Teach him to adapt? Look for experimental treatments?
We wanted to make sure that there was no stone unturned.
Was there hope or just an illusion? Watch Madeline Ottley's special report, Fight for Sight, Wednesday at 10, only on ABC-7. When you need the latest news, turn to the ABC-7 Alert Center.
From the ABC-7 Alert Center, the outrage over the shooting of a young black man in Minnesota continues tonight.
With new details breaking minute by minute.
From our ABC-7 Alert Center, the U.S. is now recommending a pause in distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
The ABC-7 Alert Center has real-time updates to keep you informed and your family safe. Only on ABC-7, where news comes first.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra Sunday Edition. CBP officers finally referred to this gate as a Jurassic Park gate because of its sheer size. Well, once these gates open and a train comes in through Mexico, CBP officers have to be on their A game to try to apprehend as many migrants trying to cross illegally into the U.S. To anyone driving by Loop 375, this may seem like an ordinary day inside the Union Pacific rail yards, a massive door opening, and a train coming in from Mexico. But lately, this has been anything but business as usual for CBP officers. Watch as officers and Border Patrol agents gather on the U.S. side as the train prepares to enter. Mexican soldiers are on the Juarez side. There's a pause before it proceeds, and I quickly learn why. I spot this man walking along the border barrier on the U.S. side. He stops, looks around, and signals a group to follow. Seemingly out of nowhere, a group of migrants, some of them children, emerge, heading directly toward the massive gate. Border Patrol agents are alerted, and a van drives up to apprehend them. As the train proceeds, Chief Angel Hernandez points out that group would have been in harm's way had they tried crossing alongside the train, because as you can see, there's very little space for anyone to walk alongside it. Chief Hernandez says anyone walking by a train can be pulled in, suffering serious injury or worse, death. Officers and agents are examining every inch of the train as it proceeds from various angles, from on top of this perch, from high above, from the sides, and from the ground. So the reason this CBP officer is laying down on the ground, he's actually checking underneath the train to see if there are any migrants trying to get across. Chief Hernandez tells me they found migrants hanging onto the underbelly of the train. He tells me that because of the train's sudden movement, anyone holding on could lose their grip, fall, and could be run over by this huge train car. One of the things that we noticed is that the train would stop every once in a while, and it's every time that these gondolas are passing by. The reason, they check to see if anyone possibly jumped into the gondola. So they make sure, jump into the gondola itself and check to see if there are any migrants inside. This large tower is actually what CBP calls non-intrusive technology, or a large X-ray type machine that looks inside the train car. Hernandez tells me it's very similar to technology that captured images of smugglers tossing two Ecuadorian girls over the border barrier in Santa Teresa. The entirety of the 1.5 mile long train makes its way through the Jurassic Park gate, then comes to rest. The initial search for migrants is over. A second search begins with the help of this four-legged CBP officer.
So this is what we call our layered approach. What we'll do is after our officers scan the train with our non-intrusive technology, now they've got...
Which is long for X-ray, more
right,
or less.
Exactly. And then what we'll do now is we're going to go through, we're going to physically inspect it, and we're going to use our canine, one of our other tools that we use. So our officers right now, what you're seeing is they're double checking on these auto racks that the seals are still intact, because what we've seen in some of the techniques is that they'll fake a seal or they'll cut the seal and it's actually open. So that's a threat for us, and we're going to need to take a look at that.
I'd say we pop this one open then. Hey Gabe, can you come down with the key? There's no seal on this load on this pickup truck.
I think they found one right in front of us.
And what is it that they're looking for? It's not just migrants, right?
Right. So they're looking for tampering, any type of tampering to these type of, especially right now these auto racks. So they're looking for any type of tampering that's happened to any of the seals. Also our canine, if our canine alerted, we're going to take a look at that as well.
Okay. And the canine is searching for what?
It's usually a human detector dog and a narcotics dog. Both, typically.
Has he hit on human beings before?
Yes.
These are images of migrants trying to sneak in aboard a train. Some are inside cramped spaces. This one emerges from the bottom of the train. This one is inside the train, close to the tracks. One misstep, and he could be run over by the train. So in a situation like this where the train has already come through, it's sitting on the railroad tracks. Do people wait before they jump out? Do they wait an extended period of time?
No, we've seen them in both cases. We've seen them try to jump out while it's still moving. We've seen them when it's staged just the way it is. It depends. It's just, like you saw earlier, it doesn't stop. It takes a long time for a train to stop. This is tons and tons of steel. And to stop a train, it's not going to happen. So anybody that jumps off, a child, any type of individual that's not used to working on a train or doesn't know the safety aspects of the train, they're going to get hurt. Especially if they get caught in between the train or underneath the train. It's not going to stop.
CBP officers stop searching and everyone gravitates towards the canine. This highly sensitive dog zeroed in on a scent. And although officers say this part of the train has been searched already, they try again just in case they miss something the canine caught. Officers climb in and search the entire car. They find nothing and the search continues. What are we seeing here? What kind of car is it? And what do you find in situations like these?
So again, this is another one of those cement hoppers. It's got two natural voids. One we call the clown hole, and one is the inside void. It's right over where the wheels of the actual conveyance are at. And typically what our officers will do is this is where we'll look at. You saw our officers earlier, they were laying down. This is what they're looking for.
Okay. And you've seen some migrants hiding in those nooks and.
Sure, especially in this location. I mean, look how close they are to the discs, right? I mean, and then when it's moving, one wrong step, or if they fall or lose balance, they can seriously get injured.
Do you literally have to pull them out, or do they climb out?
Yeah, typically most of these, once we've seen somebody and we've identified them, we just de-escalate the situation where we ask them to come down. We don't want to injure anyone, so
right.
Usually, in almost 99% of the time, they'll come down on their own.
And so you've seen situations where they're hiding in there. Have you seen it recently?
Sure, as recently as about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Sure.
You found several migrants in there?
Sure, yes.
Our ABC-7 producer wanted to see just how cramped the space is inside one of the clown holes, so he tried climbing in. Jesus weighs 200 pounds and is 5'9". Everything but his leg fits inside. And you pulled someone out of there recently?
Recently. We had a gang member from the Sureños we had just last weekend.
Who was hiding in there?
Hiding in there.
Now, did he voluntarily come out, or?
He did. Yeah.
Here's an image of someone found inside the so-called clown hole. Sunday Xtra obtained these pictures of 3 men who were found as recently as Tuesday, hiding under a cement hopper just inches away from the wheels. Hernandez explains the biggest danger on a cement hopper is actually inside. He explains smugglers jump in and hide underneath the cement.
Somehow either the doors are open, somebody assists them, they'll get in, they'll bury themselves, and somebody will shut the door. Sometimes they seal them and sometimes they don't.
The two dangers here is the vibration of the train could trigger a quicksand effect, and as it vibrates, the person hiding inside is pulled downward, potentially suffocating with all the cement. The other danger is lime from the cement, which can burn a person's skin. Again, the train is almost 2 miles long, and every day, CBP officers walk the entire length of the train, checking each car, including the locomotive, the engine that pulls all the cars. Officers say they have found entire families hiding inside compartments like this one. When we come back, we'll talk to the CBP supervisor who is in charge of leading all those men and women to try to find migrants hiding in those trains. We'll be back.
Casa Kia is bringing the heat this month with hard-hitting savings on every new Kia.
We've got 2021 Kia K5s with 0% APR for 60 months. Get a Kia Forte with 0% APR for 60 months.
Plus, we honor in Memorial Day by matching military discounts all month long.
Let's get ready to save at Casa Kia or online at casakia.com.
Our Casa is Sue Casa here at Casa Kia.
With Long John Silver's family meals, you can have your cake for free and eat it too. Have it delivered from our store to your door with any 10-piece meal or larger. Visit longjohnsilvers.com to find delivery and free cake options near you. Long John Silver's, fish yeah.
We've all worked hard to beat this thing.
The worst may be behind us.
But we're not out of the woods.
To get back to normal, we all need to do our part.
So keep your mask up.
And your distance.
Whether you're out on the town,
out to eat,
or out of this world.
Keep making safe choices.
Slow the spread.
So we can stay open.
We know your time is valuable. That's why ABC-7 at 10 brings you a fresh, in-depth look at the day's top stories.
New at 10, county commissioners were given some staggering information.
Tonight, a tough look at the local data.
Eric Elkin, Stephanie Valle, and Saul Signs dig deeper to bring you extra perspective, extra experience, extra resources. What's really going on?
And we know the COVID-19 statistics can get overwhelming, but we also want to make sure you understand what they mean.
On ABC-7 at 10.
Download the new ABC-7 Storm Track Weather and Traffic app. Hyperlocal weather conditions and custom weather alerts wherever you live and work. Plus, program it to show you when severe weather is coming. Get the new ABC-7 Storm Track Weather and Traffic app now from the App Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. We just showed you step by step what it is that CBP officers have to do, going train car by car on that train, checking every nook and cranny, looking for migrants. Not only that, checking to see if there are any drugs that are being smuggled into the U.S. using those trains. Joining us now is Supervisor William Griffith, who actually with CBP, who actually is here day in and day out and supervises all the men out here, men and women who are out here and checking the trains one by one. And I have to ask you, Officer Griffith, what is the largest number of migrants that you all have apprehended in one night?
In one interchange was 24.
24.
Yes, sir.
Any idea where they were hiding, where they were from?
These ones were hiding in the auto haulers, the ones that carry the vehicles, and majority of them from Central America, El Salvador, Guatemala.
The auto haulers are the ones that carry the vehicles, the trucks and the cars and all that. Is that correct?
Sir. Yes, sir.
So where is it exactly that they were hiding?
Majority of them will hide underneath the vehicles, between the axles, or they'll hide inside the vehicle itself.
Anytime inside the vehicle itself?
Yes, they will hide inside the vehicles, but they're being coached or trained on what to do once they pass our non-intrusive inspection area.
Have you seen at any point in time migrants hiding on train cars in very precarious situations that might be very dangerous for them?
Yes, sir. Other than inside the auto hauler itself, they like to hide, or they're hiding underneath the auto hauler itself, on the exterior of the auto hauler, but underneath.
And the danger in that? What is it?
They're about 2 feet, maybe a foot away from the track, so any vibration or shake, they're going to fall off.
In the time that you've been here, either at the Union Pacific or another rail yard, have you witnessed any injuries?
We've had amputations before, but as for anything as severe, no.
Okay.
And we hope
What
not
is
as well.
what is the most, I guess, for lack of another term, the strangest place you've seen someone hiding on a train car?
Strangest place, I would probably say the cement hoppers, the ones that carry the powder cement. They actually will bury themselves inside the cement, just enough for their face to show, and that's an extreme hazard itself.
What's the danger in that?
The vibration of the trains can cause like a quicksand effect, where these non-citizen migrants can sink down to the bottom of the train, or just the suffocation itself, the inhalation of all the concrete, the powder, the lime on their skin.
What does that do to their skin?
It can actually deteriorate or eat up their skin.
Is the fact that you all are inspecting each and every car, all the CBP officers, Is that used as a distraction for migrants to cross elsewhere?
I don't know if it's used as a distraction. The non-citizen migrants will use any means possible to try to get across by walking across the bridge, hiding in the trains. So I wouldn't say it's a deterrent. I'm hoping it is a deterrent, but I'm not saying it is.
And what is it that is, I guess, what goes through your mind when you see children who are hiding in a train under situations that could be dangerous?
It hurts. It's stressful for them. It's stressful for us. It's something that we don't want to see.
Have you ever had any difficulty pulling either a child or someone out from the area that they're in? Because we're talking about a very compact area, right?
Yes, sir.
How compact is it, and have you ever had any?
It depends on where they're hiding. We've had them on top of the auto haulers, on the very top of the auto haulers. We've had them inside the vehicles. But as trouble as pulling them out, no. I have a good team. My rail team is very good, so they know the ins and outs on how to get these migrants out of it.
One of the most, I guess, precarious situations that I saw that was very compact was that clown hole. That's a very small area.
Yes, sir.
Do you ever have any difficulty pulling them out from there?
We don't usually pull them out. Once we ask them to come out, we'll de-escalate it. We'll ask them to step out, and they're usually pretty compliant.
How stressful is it doing this day in and day out?
It's stressful, but it's my job, and it's something I have to do to protect America. So.
Do you ever explain to them that this is very dangerous for them?
All the time.
And how do they respond?
They don't usually respond. They're trained or coached, whatever the proper wording is, so what to say and what not to say.
And what would your message to the smugglers as well as to the undocumented workers?
It's very dangerous. That's why we're here. We want to warn these non-citizen migrants. This is very dangerous to use the rail system in order to gain entry into the United States.
Okay, Officer Griffith, thank you so much for taking time to us, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for taking time to watch ABC-7 Extra Sunday Edition, for joining us. And of course, we'll have so much more. Since we don't believe that the surge is going to decrease any moment now, we believe that this is going to increase. If not increase, we'll be right on top of it. You'll be able to watch it right here on ABC-7 Extra Sunday Edition. Good night y buenas noches.